Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar with our special guest from Float. My name is Stuart, and I'm one of the support accountants here at FreeAgent. With me today is Harriet, who is the Partnerships Marketing Manager at Float.
Hi guys.
Today we're going to talk about the benefits of using the combination of both FreeAgent and Float to help business owners with their cash flow forecasting. If we have time at the end, we'll be happy to answer a few questions. If you're not familiar with FreeAgent, it is a cloud-based accounting software package that's designed to demystify accounting for freelancers and small businesses, sorting out the mess and stress of managing business finances. Before diving into exactly how FreeAgent and Float work together, I'll pass over to Harriet to give an introduction to Float and the benefits of cash flow forecasting.
Thank you, Stuart. So what is Float? Float is a visual, accurate, and intuitive operational cash flow forecasting tool. We integrate seamlessly with FreeAgent to give you an easy-to-use but powerful tool that provides an accurate view of your future bank balance. Float pulls in bills and invoices, including draft and repeating bills and invoices from FreeAgent every 24 hours, meaning that we automatically update your cash forecasts with actuals. This gives you a live, rolling forecast that never goes out of date, as well as a peace of mind of knowing what's ahead for your business. Our users save an average of 8 hours every month as they're able to stop manually forecasting in a spreadsheet. So why forecast your cash? 81% of businesses who go bust cite cash flow as the main reason for that. We think this can be avoided. Cash flow forecasting can alert you to cash shortages well in advance, meaning you can get funding in place to cover any gaps, tighten expenses to avoid a cash crunch, or ask your clients to pay a bit earlier to ensure you can complete a project. But that's not all. Maintaining a cash flow forecast can also help you to make plans for the extra cash you do have. You can easily spot when you'll have a cash surplus that you can reinvest to grow your business. So if you ever worry that you won't be able to make payroll, you won't have enough cash in the bank to complete a project, or that you aren't making the most extra cash that you do have, you should be maintaining a cash flow forecast. So how can Float help? We take away the pain of forecasting cash flow manually in spreadsheets. Forecasting your cash in Float will help you really easily and visually understand the future of your business. As you can see on this slide, the spreadsheet that we see on the left is really kind of hard to understand, really numbers heavy and not very visual, but when you get into Float on the right-hand side, that's how it looks. So our goal is to make cash flow accessible and understandable for people without financial backgrounds. Many business owners tend to just look at their P&L and their balance sheet and see they are, at least on paper, profitable, but that's not the whole picture. You can be profitable and still not have enough cash to pay your bills at the end of the month. Float shows all the ups and downs that come with the fluctuations of customers paying late, unexpected tax bills, dips in sales, and so on. So how do we connect Float to FreeAgent? Float's seamless integration with FreeAgent means that you'll have an accurate forecast up and running in minutes. All you need to do to make that happen is go to floatapp.com, start your 14-day trial, and choose I use FreeAgent, and add your details, and then connect your company to FreeAgent.
Thanks, Harriet. So let's have a look at FreeAgent. So when you come to the FreeAgent page and you input your credentials as such, you'll be taken to the overview page. So let's take a look at the FreeAgent overview page. When you enter in this email and password, you'll land exactly as we see here at the moment. You'll see these relevant tabs along the top right-hand side that relate to the areas of your FreeAgent account. And on this page, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 widgets on the screen that make up the bulk of this page. Now, these widgets provide a snapshot of the key information and reports that each account has. And by clicking on any of the tabs, such as invoices or estimates and projects, this will show you the information in those relevant areas. Anything in blue, you can see here, view all projects or upload statement or view all bank accounts. These are all hyperlinks and will take you to the relevant areas of the account. Now, we don't have enough time today to fully dive into all the areas of your FreeAgent account, so I've chosen a few that are used by Float and are relevant for cash flow forecasting. Firstly, we'll have a look at this Work tab. Now, the Work tab, it contains things such as estimates and projects and time tracking, but I'd like to take a look at invoicing. Now you can see this invoice overview page here. You've got the date of the invoice, the date it's due, the reference number, which is unique to each invoice, as well as the contact and applicable project, and the value and the status of the invoice. So I'm going to take a look at invoice 147 here for Winston Fair and Sons. Now you can see one of our theme gallery invoices here, and you can see that this is for 7 days of on-site training at £240 plus VAT, which creates a total of £2,016. There's also been a payment associated with the invoice, and so the GBP total due is now 0. Moving on from the invoicing section slightly, you can see that you've got a My Money section here. So this would be anything under here where there's a user on the account who has either paid money into the company or that the company is paying the money back. So that would be expenses, that's personal expenses, or dividends, for example. But I'd like to move on to banking. Now you can have as many bank accounts in FreeAgent as you need, and you should add all of your business related ones so there is no data missing from your accounts. This graph view here can be changed to show one account or all the accounts, and you can use it to change monthly, weekly, or daily balances. You can see the list of accounts underneath the graph here. There's business current account, I've got a savings account, a petty cash account, I've even got a loan account. But under the add new in the top right hand side, you can add new bank accounts, you can add new credit card accounts, and you can add new PayPal accounts. I'm going to have a look at the business current account now. Now, I'd strongly recommend you go into the Enable Bank Feed area and set up a bank feed on your bank account or credit card feed on your credit card account. Essentially, the bank feed allows you to automatically import your transactions from your bank accounts into FreeAgent, and it can be a massive time saver. Another way to bring the transactions in is by using the Upload Statement button, which allows you to upload statements from your online banking or your credit card provider and import them into FreeAgent. And the third way to bring transactions in is to use More, Add Transaction, and add the transactions manually. Now you can see the key down here at the bottom that if they're red, they're unexplained. If they're green, they're explained. And if they're purple, they're manually added. Now, once the transactions do exist, they won't actually affect your accounts until they're explained. All they will affect is this running balance down the right-hand side. So to explain a transaction, simply click on it and choose the relevant type. In this case, it's invoice receipt, and FreeAgent is smart enough to pick up the amount of £1,200, matches the bank transaction amount here for £1,200, and suggests that this could be the correct invoice, which it is, so I explain the transaction. You can also explain money in transactions in bulk. So I could click this tick box on the left-hand side, and you'll see over here on the right, I can choose the type, the VAT rate, the category, give it an optional description, and I'm now able to explain 2 transactions. And when I do, the transactions change to green, and you can see the VAT amount now, and in fact, I've explained these to sales. Explaining money out transactions is pretty much the same. You can do it individually by clicking on the transaction or using the boxes on the left-hand side. So for this one, I can choose type payment, but it could be other options such as other money out in the drop-down list. Perhaps it was money paid to a user or a transfer to another account. In this time, it is payment. The category I know to be mobile phone. I can give it an optional description if I want to change the one that my bank has given it, but I'll leave this as explaining transactions. And I'll hand over to Harriet.
Thank you, Stuart. So now let's have a look at how this information flows into Float. Firstly, we'll look at this cash flow page, and this is the graph that shows you your future cash position. And this line here is based on the due dates of your upcoming invoices and bills in FreeAgent, as well as the cash forecasts that you enter into Float. And I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. But one of the most important parts of using Float is to make sure that you're explaining transactions in FreeAgent as frequently as possible. And the reason for that is that if you have anything that's still waiting to be explained, or in other words, assigned to a category in FreeAgent, as Stuart was just showing us, then we wouldn't be able to show that as paid. So I'll just show you our Invoices Due tab here as an example. Here in Invoices Due, you can see all the upcoming invoices that have not yet been paid, and it will alert you if anything is overdue. So we need to update these for when we think they will actually be paid, and that's really the difference between a cash flow forecast and a P&L budget, we're actually looking at when we'll actually receive or spend money. So what we want to do is change these dates, and you can either look into them individually and change the date here, or you can select multiple if you have a few to change. So what I'm going to do is just going to select these all, and change them through batch actions. So I can set expected payment date, and I can either do this by a number of days, which is handy if your customers tend to pay 30 days beyond the due date, or 60 or so on, or you can choose a specific date. I'll just put it all due to the last day of this month, apply those dates, and I can see that they've now updated to not yet overdue, and I've actually cleared that notification icon that was telling us that we had something to look at here. So just so that you know, this won't change anything in FreeAgent. So the sync is just one way and the data stays in Float. So we do update every day from FreeAgent. So if you want it to be in both platforms, you'd want to update it in FreeAgent first, and then it will flow through to Float. But if you want to manually run a sync right away, you can use this sync button here. So jumping back to the cash flow tab, I'll also show you the bank accounts that we can include, and these are also coming through from FreeAgent. So we can pick and choose whichever ones we like. Sometimes people prefer to uninclude the savings account and so on, so you can choose which ones you'd like to show. And the last kind of key thing to do to set up your forecast is to enter some placeholders for future cash. And just so you know, Float doesn't forecast for you automatically, but we can definitely help you get started. If you have a forecast already worked out in a spreadsheet, you can copy that into Float using our spreadsheet input button here. Just click on that and then just copy and paste the rows that you want. Or you can start from scratch in the main view. And I also wanted to show you if we look back into October, we can see what's happened in our sales row this month so far. I can see that I did have a budget of about 14,500, but I've actually already exceeded that by quite a bit. If we look into our paid area, we can see all of the invoices that have already been paid. And I can show you the one that we were looking at earlier in FreeAgent, invoice 147 from Winston Fair and Sons. So again, we can see the same information that we can see in FreeAgent there. This is really handy because this level of detail is definitely not something you could achieve in a spreadsheet. And you can also see that the individual budgets that we had set as well in Float. So I can close out of this. So to enter a forecast into Float, all you do is you click into the month that you want. So I'll click into advertising and promotion as an example and enter a couple of forecasts. So we just click create budget, and then we'll want to give that a name. So for this one, I might do a Facebook advertising budget. So I can just type in Facebook and give it an amount. So we're actually going to spend about £500 a month on Facebook ads. And that's going to be every month we're expecting to pay that. You can change it if you would like to a different time increment. And we'll put it on the last day of the month, but you can choose any day. And I'll create that. There we go. So we can see Facebook is coming through, but we also do some Google advertising. So I'll put that into, and we actually spend about £200 every 2 weeks on this. So I'm going to put that for all future months again and say every 2 weeks. And that happens on Friday. So we'll save that. And you can see these two budgets are now stacking on top of each other, and they're adding up to 900 here. And then if we go over to paid, we can see what's come through from here as well. So if I close out of this, you'll be able to see our £900 or 1,100, depending on how many weeks there are in the month, budget being pushed through into the future. And you'll also see the impact of that on the graph above. The last thing I'd like to show you is our scenario planning tool. You can see here we already have a scenario for a new employee, which is this pink line, alongside our official scenario line as well. And what we've changed here, if I scroll down, is our salary and bonuses line here, as well as our PAYE and NI. So you can see that as we've changed these, the lines have turned pink to the color of the scenario, so we can easily see what's changed. And if I click onto that, we can see the original budget here plus the new one as well. And we'll also see that in salary. So you can easily see the difference between the two scenarios here as well. So I can scroll back up, unless I've exited out of that. Sorry about that. And you'll be able to see the line on the graph together. There we go. So scenario planning can be really handy for helping you see the cash impact of your future plans. If you'd like to see what might happen if you win new work, get paid later than you thought, or even if you lose a big client, you can visualize all of that in Float. So we do have a pricing offer that I wanted to show you. So we are offering 50% off Float for the next 3 months. Full price Float costs £49 per month for our standard plan, plus VAT, which gives you 5 scenarios and 3 user logins. But if you use this special link just here, you can sign up for a 14-day free trial. And then if you do choose to subscribe, we'll give you that 50% off for 3 months. So I'll just pause on that for a second so you can note down the URL. Or if you decide to take this up at a later date, you can email us at support@floatapp.com and we'll get you all sorted. Although we do need you to sign up before the end of November, as that's when the offer is valid until. Great.
Perfect. So now we'll move on to some questions. So we've got a few questions here already. The first is about the directions of sync between FreeAgent and Float. I'll let you answer that one, Harry.
Yeah, thank you. So the data from FreeAgent comes into Float just one way. So Float doesn't put anything back to FreeAgent, which kind of makes it a nice, safe place to model those different hypothetical scenarios and not worry about kind of messing up any data that you do have in FreeAgent.
Great.
So there's been a question about any plans to bring in estimates from FreeAgent to Float. So thank you for that question. Currently, that's not in our pipeline for future development, but I'll definitely give that onto our product team to see if there's anything we can do, and we'll let you know if that's going to be possible.
Superb. This next question, can my accountant use Float? So in FreeAgent, users are able to add their accountant as a user and then choose their access level, and then they can give them their own credentials to log in with and do what accountants do inside FreeAgent.
So you can absolutely add your accountant to your Float account. You can add them as a user. As you do get a few user logins, they can take one of those, or they could join our partner program, which does give them a few benefits, including discounts for multiple clients. So there's a couple of options there.
Cool. The next question I think might be for yourself.
So the next question was, can it operate a full weekly accounting period rather than monthly as shown? That's a great question. So currently the graph and the table in Float is on a monthly basis, but you can enter forecasts that are weekly or even daily. So you can do it on that level. And then on our reporting screen, you can also view just 1 month at a time. So you can see it week by week, but in terms of the actual main graph and the table changing to 4 weekly accounting periods, unfortunately not.
Okay. Can you export the forecast in Float?
Yeah, absolutely. There is a button on the cash flow tab in Float, just a little downward arrow button. If you click that, you can either export to a PDF or a CSV. The PDF is a bit more visual and nice, and you can share that with any stakeholders that you have. And the CSV is handy if you want to kind of take it into a spreadsheet to change it around.
Perfect. How do you get the spreadsheet tab to open?
So that was just above the table in the cash flow tab. There's a little button right up on the right-hand side above the table that says spreadsheet input. If you click on that button, it will open up the spreadsheet view. And that's pretty handy, as I was saying, to copy and paste a forecast into Float, or even if you just want to get started and you just want to type in different numbers per month, it's a bit faster than adding individual budgets into individual cells.
Perfect. Thank you all for your questions. That was great. I think that's pretty much us at this stage. So thank you so much for joining us. I hope that has helped everyone learn a bit more about FreeAgent, a bit more about Float, and particularly a bit more about the benefits of cash flow forecasting, please feel free to contact the support team at FreeAgent on support@freeagent.com, or you can get live chat on our website if you've got any further questions on FreeAgent. Likewise, there's Float support team, and that is support@floatapp.com. If you would like any more information on Float. We hope you have had a great day and you enjoyed the webinar, and take care. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.